Hello everybody, it's Starrapter here. Welcome to my spoiler-free review of The Witcher Season 1 on Netflix. This is a fantasy-based series. It's based off these books from this Polish fantasy writer, and it also has a game series that goes along with the books, The Witcher, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And full disclosure, I'm obsessed with The Witcher games. I think they are some of the best games ever made. I'm specifically looking at The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. So my thoughts might be a little bit skewed on this because it's in my top 5 games of all time. And what this story does, what this Netflix series does, is bring what I played in the game to life. Now, yes, I know people are going to say this isn't a video game adaptation because, well, the video game was an adaptation of the books to a certain degree. So yeah, but still, this is the closest thing we've ever gotten to like an amazing live action representation of a video game. So let's just jump into it. What the heck is The Witcher? As I mentioned, it's a fantasy-based series, and it revolves around the Witcher, who is this human that basically gets mutated to take on monsters more efficiently. They can use potions to give themselves more power. They have more agility, more strength, and there's also 2 other characters that are worth noting in this specific season 1. We also have Princess Cirilla, aka Ciri, who is basically the thing that these bad people called the Nilfgaardians are looking for. So the Witcher, his whole journey is of destiny, and he has to find Ciri and protect her. So that's basically the running plot thread throughout this entire season. But we also have the sorceress known as Yennefer of Vengerberg, and she is this character that ends up interweaving herself into both of Ciri's and the Witcher's storyline. And it does come to a very satisfying conclusion, but just talking more of the general consensus of things without giving things away. So what I really do appreciate is how much detail goes into this series. Now, you can kind of make an argument that this is Netflix's answer to the Game of Thrones. And while they are fantasy, they are completely different. Whereas Game of Thrones is more based on politics and more grounded in reality, we have The Witcher, which just goes all in on the magic. And the way that the magic looks and feels in this fantasy series is very unique. And it really pays homage to the animation in the game, such as The Witcher. He has these abilities called signs, which are kind of like magic in a way. He can use fire, he can use kind of like a force push like a Jedi would. Different things like that, and the mages and the sorcerers can also do really cool things that will be a step up from what humans can do, like literally just instantly kill people or just freeze people in place. We have such awesome environments. We see deserts, we see lush forests, we see jungles, we see swamps, we see lots of monsters. And yes, if you are fans of monsters, this is going to be the show for you, because every single episode of the 8 has a different vibe to it. So you have the Witcher, who is a contract kind of bounty hunter, right? He's going after these different creatures. He gets paid in orans, which is a nice little reference to the video games and the books. He is going around doing different things, and every episode feels like a Grimm's fairy tale. So if you're a fan of those like very dark stories, you're gonna love The Witcher, because it just keeps going darker and more twisted in some of these storylines that appear to be very kind of cut and dry, like, oh, there's a monster that's killing people, to, oh my gosh, there's a connection between the king of this realm and this monster. Like, there's a really big revelations in here. The way we see characters like the Witcher and Yennefer transform literally throughout this season is something that is just so intriguing. The action sequences are freaking epic. I mean, the ending of episode 1, if that doesn't have you hooked on the choreography of the fights in this, then I don't know what will, because everything is so impact heavy, and we really see a lot of gore. This is just, if you are a fan of horror, there's going to be certain scenes that are going to disturb the heck out of you, and it just goes to show that this show is literally paying so much respect to its source material beyond anything I could really ever even imagine. I mean, like I said, I dumped over 100 hours into The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and the fact that this show is actually giving me more backstory for a game that I think I've pretty much well understood is just incredible to me. Henry Cavill's performance as Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf, is just extraordinary. Okay, so in the game, he has more of an American accent, but in this he has more of a British accent, but he still maintains that gruff kind of raspy voice where he's doing a lot of you know, a lot of like grunts and stuff, which is just symbolic with the character of the Witcher, because Witchers are known to not have much emotion. They do not play into emotion. So you might see Henry Cavill's performance, if you're not familiar with the source material, and say, wow, this guy really doesn't have an emotion, because that's the point of this character. And granted, I have played the source material, but I've heard from quite a few people out there that have not been experienced to any of that, and they are enjoying the show. So if you are kind of on the fence and saying, oh, Chris, you know, Starrapter, he's so into the game and stuff, that's probably why he's loving the show. I've heard from multiple accounts that you can go into the story and really appreciate it. And that's the thing, is I really appreciate jumping in that first episode. They're not holding your hand. They're not sitting there explaining what the signs are and different things that the Witcher is doing. But it's just a nice way to kind of just jump into this universe. It's different regions. There are different kind of realms and stuff like that, if you will. And it's just, the overall story is very grand, very epic. I mean, the first episode, you're already seeing a massive war. Like, it's like, wait, we're going right for Game of Thrones feel right here with this huge epic battle of just people, different knights and different things like that. And the music is incredible. And toss a coin to your Witcher. If that doesn't get stuck in your head from the bard that follows Witcher around, I don't know what will, because that thing is gonna just live in me forever now. Yeah, it's just, this show is just so much better than what I could have expected, and that is so refreshing, right? When you're anticipating something, and this came around the same time of Star Wars, so I've been putting it off, and people have been telling me, watch this show, and I gotta relay the message to you guys. If you have not jumped on the bandwagon for The Witcher, you are seriously doing yourself a disservice if you are a fantasy fan. I will mention that there is one thing that really just irks me a little bit about the series, and it's not anything huge, but timelines get a little bit weird. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I want to have you guys experience it for yourself, but there were a little bit time differences between certain character storylines that really threw me for a loop, and I'm like, okay, I kind of feel like watching the series or the season again to kind of get a better understanding now that I know that certain characters' storylines started before others, so it's a little bit interesting there, but I'm sure in season 2, which has already been confirmed before this series even aired, which is telling you how confident Netflix is in this series, is that I think season 2 is going to be a lot more tight-knit, a lot more linear. This series, or this season, felt a lot more non-linear, so I can understand that people might kind of be a little bit confused, but if you knew that going into it, just know by the final episode of season 1, it will be very clear where they stand currently in the show. So with that being said, I gotta give The Witcher a score of a 9 out of 10. This was everything I hoped for and more. If you guys are fans of The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, or any of the previous games, you're gonna want to watch this. Like, seriously, give this one a watch. And in general, TV has been phenomenal in 2019. There's still a lot of TV series that I haven't watched, but I have watched The Mandalorian. I have watched Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, which is another great fantasy put out by Netflix this year. But I will be doing more reviews coming out to you guys very soon. So if you liked my review of The Witcher, also if you liked the Witcher video game, I have a review for that on the channel that I put out about a year ago, so make sure you go ahead and check that out for more stuff on my channel. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, that way you'll be alerted when new videos go live. That is going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.